What's up, babe, and everybody else, and welcome back to the Founder Academy. I am Mark, the FUT founder, and I am a little distracted here because I got Kane here with me. Come here. You want to be on camera? Come on. There he is. He's a total nightmare, total terror, but he's got his stick here, so he's going to join us for this video while FUT Babe is getting changed for the day here. He's going to be joining us a little bit here, so... Yeah, it's really a video about catch-up because we haven't recorded in a little bit, right, buddy? Right, okay, he's going to go now. Because we haven't recorded too much lately. I've been recording a lot of the gameplay, but I haven't played a ton. I've just kind of like made a run through some of the Rivals stuff. The Rivals has actually been quite interesting. I mean, the lower divisions, look, guys, I mean, with all due respect to everybody who's in the lower divisions, I don't mean to insult anyone, but it's probably going to be pretty easy just because I've been playing FIFA for years and years and years, and you still get a lot of kind of new players and people that aren't necessarily FIFA gamers. He's all over the place here. FIFA gamers are FUT players or what have you that don't necessarily understand chemistry or whatever, and they're going to be in the lower division, so some of the scores are going to be a little lopsided. But we did come up against a couple good players, which you guys will see, especially once we get into kind of the Division 8. I think we were 10-9-8 in this video, so you guys are just seeing a lot of the very early stages of our Rivals run. So what I'm showing you guys right now is just the team that we started with. It's going to be very different from the end of the video, and it's also going to be very different from where we are at the moment, which I'll kind of describe through who we picked up. I didn't put in all of like the additions and stuff like that just because I didn't think it was that interesting a content, but this is kind of what you are really pulling. You're going to see some of the stuff that we started with. So we picked up obviously that Di Maria. He's a really good card. We have the Messi that we packed, the first ever Messi that I've ever packed in any FIFA. Messi, just as a spoiler alert, Messi's actually not in the team anymore. You guys will see who we replaced him with by the end of the video. But even though Messi's still on the bench, I do love him. You can tell that the guts are going to be there for a really good Messi card. The problem with the base Messi is that he just doesn't have the pace. So like to play in that cam position, he doesn't have that explosiveness that we're going to need in order to shoot through the middle if we're kind of making those runs. Because I play in a 4-2-3-1. I really need a player who can contribute offensively. So our striker is going to change by the end of the video. I think in this we were using Moise Keane? Moise Keane, the player from Juventus. I think he's the Italian striker from Juventus. We're using his Player of the Month card, who's okay. He's not fantastic. I mean, you can use him in the lower divisions, but look, he's not going to be absolutely amazing. I think we use Karim Benzema as well in some of the early games. Benzema, really good card. Again, you can tell some of the guys that are just really high finishers and their ability to score, like they're going to put everything away. It's just once you start getting into Division 7, 6, 5 and stuff like that, you need a striker that is just going to be able to like shoot into space and have that acceleration. I am a possession player, but at the same time, possession is not super useful for some players. Again, we'll come back to a lot of that. I know I'm kind of future endeavoring some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about, or talking about future tense here, but it'll all make sense by the time we get to some of those games, and I can kind of show you guys what I'm talking about. But in these early stages, you can pretty much use whoever. Messi was fantastic. You could tell that he was much better than some of the other cards some of my opponents were using. But once we're starting to get into these guys, get into these opponents that have really fast fast center backs, we're not going to be able to compete because Messi just doesn't have that explosive acceleration, even with a Hunter on him. He's going to be in there for emotional purposes, but I could see myself, if I can afford him, I would love the team of the year version that is almost guaranteed to happen. Because the team of the year voting has just started. It started yesterday. I'm just going to give you that, buddy. So it just started yesterday. There's a lot of really good cards in there. I don't know when the honorable mentions actually go into packs. I'm assuming it's going to be Friday, and then team of the year will probably start next Monday or something along those lines, or maybe even next Friday. But there's probably going to be a week of voting, and then I don't know, half a week of voting, and then a week of honorable mentions and packs, something along those lines. But I would like to get some of those cards in the squad, especially in the back line. But I really want the team of the year Messi. I just don't think I'll be able to afford him. He's probably going to be about 2.5 million. Right now, if I sold everything in my club and I totally liquidated my club, it would probably be about 1.6, 1.7. Which, look, guys, I do end up putting a little bit of money on the game as time goes on. So it's not like I totally grinded this. I'm not like a great grinder. I know how to grind through the menus, but the problem with this year's FIFA is anything that's grindable is untradeable. So it's like to stay liquid is very, very important if you want to buy anybody. Like I do not recommend, I don't want to say investing in cards because like, look, you can follow traders and get investment tips from traders. But if you just buy a card and just go, I'll just use him for a month or so. Like the reality is that card's going to be worth almost nothing. So I'll give you an example. I was looking at potentially using just Roberto Baggio, his prime version. I think he's like 350 right now. There's a good chance that by the time Team of the Year comes out, he's going to be like 100K. Like 150K, right? So you're going to lose a bunch of money, especially on these icons. So the guy that I'm tracking right now, if I can't afford Team of the Year Messi, which is very likely that I won't be able to afford him, I'm probably going to try to pick up Prime Puskas. So I can afford the base version, but he's out of packs. So you guys know I like fresh cards if you follow the channel. The mid version is just a little too slow, but he's got better shooting. Also the baby version, even though he's got good pace, he's not exactly a very good passer, and he doesn't have as good a shooting as the other two. The other one, the mid version, is just a little slower. The prime version is just fantastic. So I've always loved Puskas since he got introduced into this game. He's a fantastic card. A lot of guys just sleep on him because he doesn't have 5-star skill, 5-star weak foot, all that jazz, right? But to me, I don't care. I'm fine with him. I think he's got 4-star weak foot, 3-star skill, or 4-star skill, 3-star weak foot, or something like that. And then the Moments version that'll eventually come out will probably be 4-star, 5-star, something along those lines. I got my prime here. But yeah, I'm really interested in picking up that version. He's about he's kind of creeping down just below the 1.6 range right now. I don't have all of that liquid, so I got to wait for him to drop another couple 100K for me to be able to pick him up. But he would be ideal. Right now we're using we don't use him in this video, but I ended up picking up Boufal, that version from the World Cup, who everybody's talking about. He was like 35K or something like that. So that is a card that I'm really interested in trying, or I'm looking forward to trying out. I haven't actually used him. We'll probably use him today if I get a couple games in, but I haven't had the ability to, and he's apparently just an absolute beast. I was looking at his stats. I think he's 5-star weak foot, 4-star skill, and he's like got crazy agility, crazy balance. He looks like he's got that thin body type. So he'll be super agile, and he'll just be really good for Cam. Worst case scenario, I can swap him and Neymar and have Neymar through the middle and put Boufal out left. I'm really excited that Prime is in Canada now. They didn't have Prime for a really long time. A lot of people were like importing it, and then they were charging an absolute buttload. I saw a store here called Showcase. It was charging it for $13 a bottle. 13. That was before tax. But I'm very thankful they have it now at like this chain that's like a gas station's called Circle K, and they're the exclusive seller of this, so you can find it for it's about $3 a bottle or something like that. But it's so good. It's so good, especially this one, the Ice Pop. I highly recommend it. I'm a really big fan of Prime, so I'm happy to support JJ and whichever Paul brother it was that did it, just because it's so tasty, man. That especially the Ice Pop one. I had the blueberry one the other day. They only had what was it, Tropical Punch for like weeks, so I was drinking the Tropical Punch, but it's just not as good. The other flavors are better. The blue, I haven't had the chance to try the grape, or I think it's lime. But the Ice Pop one, man, just top notch. So I picked up a whole bunch when I was in the store. Anyway, you guys aren't here for that. You're here for FIFA stuff. So as you guys can see, some of the players are starting to change a little bit. We're just kind of rattling through a lot of the wins. I ended up picking up Clarence Seedorf's center, or his mid version, which I play as the holding mid. Same thing that I've had, the same issue that I've had with him in the past. He's very, very good at these lower levels because he can play that defensive position. But I put an agility card, or I put an engine on him to boost up his agility and his balance. And he's very, very good from a box-to-box midfield. He's not a true defensive midfielder, though. Hey, buddy. Because he doesn't have those defensive skills, so he is going to get exposed a little bit as we go on through the divisions. He's not going to be a card that I'm going to be able to keep forever. I'm just using him right now. Hey, don't bite my chair. This kid chews everything. He literally will chew your hand if you put your hand in front of him. But yeah, fantastic passer. He can score goals if you need to, but he's just a great box-to-box. He's a real workhorse. What are you doing? Come here. Come here. He's a real workhorse. He's just a card that I really, really like having in the squad. But again, we're probably going to have to switch him out at some point. I'm going to try to keep him in as long as possible, but I know I'm going to get frustrated with him at some point because I'm going to need somebody a little bit more defensive-minded. I've been playing him with Renato Sanchez's base card, and his Renato Sanchez's base card is phenomenal. If you guys are looking for a very cheap beast to play, I highly recommend him. As you guys can see, some really ridiculous goals being scored here. Yeah, highly recommend Renato Sanchez if you're just looking for somebody. I think he's like under 1,000 coins or something like that, or is the most you pay for him is 2,000 or 3,000, and he's like, I dare say, better than Seedorf. It's just Seedorf is going to get the links and he's an icon and whatnot. We also picked up Gerd Muller, the mid version. Now, Gerd Muller's baby version didn't have those like super high rated shooting stats. The baby version was faster. I think it's the fastest version of Gerd Muller. The mid version is the cheapest, but I liked it because it was based around that 74 West Germany team that ended up winning the World Cup, which is me nerding out a little bit. But I like that Gerd Muller just because he's got super high shooting. I would love to get the Prime, which I found very interesting because the Prime is based around the 1970 World Cup, which they didn't even win. They won in 74, so I don't know why they flipped him like that, but I guess that was when he was in his prime. I don't know how many goals he ended up scoring for West Germany during the 70 World Cup, but it must have been a lot for that to be the prime version. But the prime version, I think, is 89 pace and like 90-something shooting. But I would love to get the prime. It's just he is so much more. The mid version's actually gone up for me. It's funny. I picked him up for like 250 and he's gone up to like 3-something, which isn't a whole lot. But for that card, he is just a goal-scoring machine. I will say that. Moise Kean was fine, but he misses a ton of chances. Like he's more of a pace guy who can. Don't go in there. Don't go in there. Moise Kean's just more of a pace guy that can just kind of run at defenders, but he's not super agile. He's not a great finisher. You can tell like really high goal scorers like Karim Benzema. I've used the Gerd Muller card. Like these guys are just the AI of where it places those players. Like I know people like using this like Haaland and stuff like that because he's just like a cheat code. But like guys that have like super high attacking positioning and super high finishing, they're just in positions, right? That's why you pay for that stuff. I know guys are obsessed with pace and they just think, oh, I'll just get a speed demon. But like, look, once you get to higher divisions, you can't just use a speed demon, right? Like lame tactic abuse players use speed demon cards, and I understand it. But like to me, it's just lame. Look at how stupid this goal is. It's just lame to use that stuff, guys. Like, and the reason I say that is not out of like anger or bitterness, but you're actually doing yourself a disservice. You're going to be able to beat up a bunch of noobs, but the problem that you're going to have is, let's say you've got a player that takes a shot from midfield and the keeper just parries it and knocks it down. The guys that have really high attacking positioning, like a Gerd Muller, that are like 97, 98, the Puskasses of the world, the AI moves those players in positions where once the keeper knocks it down, they're right there to knock in the rebounds. Guys that have really poor positioning, they just don't understand how to make the runs. Another thing is like Timo Werner, for example. I use the Timo Werner. Hey, come here. I use the Timo Werner in one of the squad battle challenges, and because his attacking positioning is not as high, he's just a pace demon that people like to use. When I was coming in on runs, he would get kind of confused and he'd run off to the side. He wouldn't try to go in the middle of the goal. He wouldn't try to drop off. He wouldn't create angles. He would just sprint, and then he would kind of like get lost in between defenders. So when you're looking for those, when you're in the box and you're kind of making moves and you're like, where's all my attackers? Having guys that have really high attacking positioning, they will look for the position to find themselves in like that kind of soft spot, so you can make that pass and just one time it into the net. There's a reason that they bang in so many goals, because their attacking positioning is so high. Pace abuse players, they just don't have that. They don't have that ability. They don't have that mindset. They just run and they kind of get lost. All they're good for is just spamming down the wing, and that'll get you out of a couple divisions. But once you get into like Division 4, Division 5, even like Division 6, I dare say, like you're going to be up against much better players and you're not going to be able to run at them like that. Where are you going? What are you doing? See, he is just so much work. Oh my word. Come here. Yeah, we picked up that Rainier guy. The reason that I showed him was because I was actually using him in the midfield for a little bit because I had so many Brazilians. I think we ended up getting Carlos Alberto as one of the player picks in the base icons. Excuse me, the base icon player pick. And even though it's the slowest version, now you can convert the right back Carlos Albertos that are like center, or they're 90 pace to center back. The center back version that only has 82 pace is still a very, very good card. I highly recommend that one. Oh my god, what are you doing? I highly recommend that one, guys. So he's like kind of a cheaper version just because everybody wants the more expensive version of Carlos Alberto because he's that much faster. But even if you're looking for a cheap center back, like, he's very, very good. And he's got the 82 pace, which is kind of around where I don't want to say the meta is, because look, there's better defenders, but he can hold his own right now. He's going to quickly fall behind once the team of the years come into play. But at the moment, he's still usable, I guess is what I'm saying. He's got very high defending, and he's very, very good. So Rainier actually got I think he got 3 diamonds with him, and he was a decent little card considering he's free to play, or you didn't have to pay for him. He was just free to get. You just had to. Oh, you have a lot of energy right now. He's free to. Come here. I have to take him for a walk after. Rainier is free to earn. All you have to do is do like some simple offline stuff. There's some really great cards that are very good, that are very easily obtainable in this FIFA. So I highly recommend them. Do some of those squad battle challenges and just get those and put them into your squad. As you guys can see, a lot of the goals that we're conceding, and I'm not taking anything away from my opponents, but because we are playing some of the lower level players, some of the goals that we're scoring just show how still broken this game is. Like, I remember watching a video talking about how FIFA essentially was programmed years ago, and a lot of the guys that programmed the original Ultimate Team, they're no longer with EA, so they can't change a lot of this stuff, and it's still got a lot of those broken mechanics. So I'm just gonna let him out, guys. It's still got a lot of broken mechanics. There you go. It's still got a lot of the broken parts of the game. It just doesn't. They can't fix a lot of that stuff, so it's really frustrating to play. So I remember in one of the previous videos that I'd made, one of the only other 2 videos that I'd made for this series this year, I talked about is morale still in the game? Is broken tactics still in the game? The ultra attack abuse? And they're still in the game, so I tried them out. So the morale issue is like when you get a card, he defaults to 80 morale, and you got to get a couple wins with him in the lineup for that card's morale to go back up. So when you're using, let's say, a squad battles team, like I started an MLS squad just to do some of the squad battle objectives because I didn't want to use my main team to do it. The entire MLS squad was all new, and they all played like crap. So because I'm playing the computer on lower levels just to get their performance levels up, they're still bouncing off of tackles, and they're falling all over their plate. They're falling all over the place, but more importantly, they're displacing, which is when you go into a 50-50 tackle, and I'll show you guys a little clip I made at the end, which just showcases it. Essentially, when you go into a 50-50 tackle, the player stumbles and he falls and he trips and he kind of moves about 3 or 4 steps out of the way, because what it's doing is, because his morale is down, it's displacing him. It's moving him behind so that your opponent, whether it's computer or human, can actually not have a player in its face, so it can easily move forward with the ball. So that is one of the things that's still very prevalent in the game. It's so frustrating, but again, if you guys want to get rid of it, you're going to have to just either put them in a lineup with a team that you've won a bunch of games with, or you're going to have to play offline games to get their morale up, or else you're playing with them on a lower morale when you first acquire that card. We also got Ian Rush. I love the fact that this year the content that EA is putting out has like the icons, and they're very achievable to craft. It's like an 85 and an 86 squad or something like that, I think was the base. So they did that like 2 or 3 times, and we ended up packing a couple. We didn't get too many really great cards. We got Ian Rush there. I actually think that Ian Rush was from one of the ones. I ended up buying one of the packs that had a guaranteed base icon. Look, Ian Rush is going to be putting in SBC at some point. I've been using him in some of the offline stuff. He's not really that great, but he's just a finisher if you're looking to do some objectives or something like that. But not a very, very good card. Who else did we get? Carlos Alberto we talked about, and you guys will see who we get in our player picks. Oh, there you go. That's what you are going to hear when... Oh, I got a phone call. That is what you're going to hear when you get a dog, is you're going to hear a lot of barking. What else did we do? We did winter wildcards objectives, opened up that 83 by 25 pack or whatever, didn't get too much in it. The funny thing is, I don't think there's a single gold rare card outside of Mbappe that is probably usable at this stage, and that's saying an absolute ton. Now, do I have gold cards in my lineup? Yes, I do, but it's just because I haven't been able to upgrade them yet. I'm not saying you can't use any of them, but almost every single card is considered fodder at this point. Like, the only one that is probably sellable that is actually going to be a card that you would see in, like, FUT Champs, for example, if people had the choice, would be the base Mbappe. Like, Messi's fodder, Ronaldo's fodder, which is crazy. Yeah, like Kevin De Bruyne. Like, I don't even know who else. Like, look at all these cards, like Donnarumma, Davies, Cancelo, all of these I'm pretty sure at some point I've put into an SBC. Like, none of them are SBC proof at this point. Come on, what are you doing? Come here. Oh, I don't know what he's doing. Anyway, here you guys are seeing Gerd Muller. He's just banging in goals. Just a goal-scoring machine. Against some of these opponents, he just puts himself in position. See, he kind of drops off, soft spot, and he just bangs home goals with both feet. Like, he's just a goal-scoring machine. Now, he's not going to be that guy that in FUT Champs he's going to go sprinting away from opponents. He's got okay pace, but it's not going to... He's going to get caught from behind with some of the faster players. But he's definitely a very, very good striker. I highly recommend him, and I think the Prime version eventually will be good. Hi, you back? You back? What are we doing? Oh, what are we doing? Oh, you're on video now. Huh? What do you think? Oh, that's about it. He's probably going to try to chew something. He's going to try to chew something up here. This is my little office, and I have to, like, block off areas because the dog is going to try to get in there and chew things. What are you doing? Oh, don't chew me. Yeah, he's cute, but boy, is he a lot of work. Hey, you want your time, eh? Oh my goodness. Okay. Sorry guys, I know I'm a little distracted here, but look at this face. Look at this face, huh? Licks? Licks? Can I get licks? No? None? Okay. He loves the rocking chair. Just absolutely loves it. I don't know what he wants. He's just got high energy early afternoon here. Yeah, there you go. Good boy. Good boy. Come on down. Come down. Very high energy. Oh, what's up? You want to come over? Ow. I don't know if this is good or not. Trying to record a video. Your breath stinks. You stink. You stink. Okay. So, yeah, we're just kind of making our way through the divisions here, guys. I know, I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted here. This guy, just a ton of work. We also picked up Neymar. Ironically, I picked him up so I could fit in Messi. Hey, no biting. No biting. You're going to go down if that's the case. You want to stay up? Yeah, we ended up picking up Neymar just because I needed him. I needed a left mid. Neymar's actually a really good card. Neymar's back this year. So last year he was not a very good card just because last year you needed a little bit more physical traits, and I'm sure this year it'll probably eventually change. But this year, left stick dribbling is so important. Neymar is back. He's a very usable card. Ow, he got me again. His Centurion card or whatever it's called, the hundreds card or whatever that promo is that's out right now. He's a very, very desirable card, but he's about 2 million. I wouldn't pay for that. The inform version's dropped to about 610 or something like that, 600k. He'll be a very, very good card if you can get your hands on it. He's also central. But yeah, I highly recommend Neymar. He's fantastic this year. He's got everything that you need. He's got that agility, he's got that balance that you want, and he's got goal scoring ability. Plus, I think he's 5-star, 5-star, right? You're back again. I don't think he's ever wanted me this much. Just because he knows I'm on camera. He's just selfish. You want some screen time too, don't you? Ooh. Hey, you want screen time too. Yeah. So a lot of the scores actually ended up finishing about 5-1. A lot of the goals, again, not to take anything away from my opponent, some of them scored some okay goals, but a lot of them were just goofy, nonsensical stuff like players bumbling around the back or like some weird giveaway or something like that. You guys are going to see a game that's coming up here. I actually think it's this game. Is this it? Yes, this is the game. So this game, guys, this is one of the things that I hate the most about last year's FIFA, and it's in this year's game again. I was hoping it was gone, but it's not. So what this is ultra attacking abuse. So people are going to maybe think that I'm hating here. I'm not hating on my opponent. I'm hating on the game the way it's designed. This guy was a perfect example of what I call ultra attack abuse. So essentially what it is you just like it sounds, you essentially put your team on ultra attacking and just go super high pressure, super aggressive, offensive, and it drops my stats to the floor. So defensively, I couldn't stop this guy. So I pride myself on being a good defensive player, but I could not stop this guy if my life depended on it. So I'm trying to work the ball in. As you guys see there, Gerd Muller, what it's doing is it's basically made his team superhuman offensively and made my team weak defensively, and it's dropped my player's stats. So like one of the things, Gerd Muller, who's got really good physical traits, you touched him, he was falling over. The midfielders, I'm just bouncing off of tackles. They're not, oh my God, they're not stopping anything. Like here's a really good example, right? The guy just runs down the wing, sprints down, fires in a cross, and watch the header from Marquinhos. He just misses it, and he hits a side bike from behind him. It looks like a good goal, but realistically from the physics of the game, 99% of the time that will not go in. The only reason that went in is because his offensive stats are so highly rated, because he's abused that tactic. His offensive stats are jacked so far up. My defensive stats have fallen through the floor, so he's just scoring goals. Like I can't stop him. My team's like Swiss cheese. Like they're running past him. They're moving out of the way. They're parting like the Red Sea. They're not holding shape. Okay, Kane, relax. They're not holding shape, and I just can't stop it. So at this point, as you guys can see, the turnover is very easy. My players are just running past, like they're swinging, as I've talked about and before. So if the player's here, my players are basically doing this, and he's just literally running past. So at this point, I think before it hit the fifth goal, I had to go ultra attacking. So basically what I'm having to do in order to counter this is do the exact same thing. Just counter it with the same thing, which I hate doing because it becomes just a goal fest. And all you're doing is just offense and hope that you can score. Because if he gets the ball, it's offense. And it's literally just back and forth. And what it does is it creates like a 5-on-5 and then a 5-on-5 in both ends of the field. And all you're doing is just hoping to survive defensively and then spam the ball up. And then same thing for your opponent. So it turns into it basically breaks the game. There's no defense in the game, and all it is offense. So as soon as I did that, my team just became superhuman. His team fell apart defensively. It's just abuse. It's abuse of the tactics of the game, and I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Even though we pulled it back, I'm happy because this guy abused it right out of the gate. I don't mind using that late in the game if you're down 3-2 and need a goal or something like that. But when guys just do it right out of the gate, as you guys can see there, I left that clip in. It's kind of hard to see David De Gea, but essentially the goalkeepers just fall apart, right? So the ball's coming in, he's got these long arms, and then once the ball gets there, he kind of does this and then back out. So like it makes all the defensive stats and the goalkeeping stats really, really low. They become really stupid, and the goalkeepers stop nothing. It breaks the game, and it's really awful. I don't like it. I wish they would get rid of it, but again, it's one of the stupid things that they put in this game. And it's funny because everybody talks about how they're EA Sports Football or EAS or whatever they're calling it next. Wow, he is really energetic, guys. I've never even seen him like this. EAS next year is going to be so different. It's going to be the same game. Unless they totally reworked it and recreated this from scratch, which I doubt they did. You're going to get the same game because they're using the same game code. So everything that they put in here that's broken, it stays in. They're not fixing anything. All they're doing is upgrading some of the aesthetics of the game and the way, like the chemistry. I appreciate them redoing the chemistry this year, but it's kind of a Band-Aid fix. It's not really that different. All they've done is allow players to like change positions on the cards. That's really about it, right? And it kind of limits the amount of positions that you can move it in. So is all the pros that they did, like being able to have a left winger that can move to a striker, It's also become counterintuitive because strikers, you can't move into the center mid now because sometimes they're just strikers and center forward. Sometimes they don't even have a second position. So the pros and the cons just kind of cancel each other out. So to me, the chemistry system, I appreciate them doing something, but it's not a huge big deal. Like I don't think it's this revolutionary thing. The diamond system is like, I don't even really like the diamond system, to be totally honest with you. It is what it is. Here, over here. It is what it is. I don't love it. I don't love the diamond system. I think it's kind of crappy, to be totally honest with you. But whatever. It's fine. I just think overall the game is the same thing that it's been for years and years and years. It's still got all the broken crap in it. It's still playable. It's still fine. I still like it. But look, for the amount of time and effort, how long have we been making this series? And this is only maybe a handful of time that I've actually spent with this game. Actually on camera. I've spent hours and hours, years almost of my life playing FIFA, and it's like, sad as that is to admit, like, it's just you waste so much time and effort. Anyway, I left this clip in. You guys saw that we picked up Garrincha. He's going to be the new right mid. He's going to replace Messi. Always, there's the dog screaming. What I wanted to show here was two things. So Seedorf is on full morale because I've been using him the whole time, and I just picked up Garrincha. So I get it. They have different physical stats. But what I wanted to show here is Seedorf. When he goes into a physical tackle, the one-on-one here, this is what high morale is. So when you go into this physical tackle here against the midfielder, watch him hold his own. Okay, so I make the move, a little bit of a bad decision on my part, but when he bumps into the player physically one-on-one, he stays upright and he keeps fighting for the ball, right? He's still in the play. It gives me an opportunity to put my opponent under pressure here. So they go into this tackle one-on-one, physically they bump into each other, but see, he stays on his feet, he keeps fighting, and I'm able to get back into that play in order to try to steal the ball back. He doesn't just fall over, he doesn't hit the player and ragdoll onto the ground, he stays upright, and it allows me to stay in my opponent's face, so if he makes a bad decision, I can take the ball away. Now, furthermore, Garrincha, brand new card, okay, so his morale's low. So I make this move, the scoop turn here to get away from Bailly, but watch as soon as he goes into a physical tackle. So once I'm past Bailly, he's fine, and then I go into the physical tackle here. As soon as he gets touched, or as soon as the ball's there, watch the displacement. Okay, so he'll take any physical contact, he trips up 1, 2, 3 steps, and he's out of the way. So it allows the player in white to be able to turn and pass the ball out without anybody in his face, right? It's uncontested. So again, not even a real physical challenge. He just trips up and he skips out of the way. It basically displaces him behind. So that's what morale does. It means that your physical traits drop to the floor. So this would have happened to either of those players. It would happen to anybody. You could be the strongest player in the game. If your morale is low, they're going to lose every physical battle. They're going to do this. And I get it. Garrincha's not the biggest, most powerful player in the world, but that's the same thing that will happen to any single player. They go into that tackle, they trip up, and they either fall over, they ragdoll over, or they trip up and then they skip about 2 or 3 steps. So that way they're behind the play and your opponent's breaking out. So I wanted to show that because I wanted to explain what morale does. Like when you have that problem, like imagine all your cards are having morale issues. Every physical battle that you go into, your opponents are going to win, and you've got players displacing all over, and that's what makes it feel like, man, how come my players are playing so dumb? Because they're all getting knocked out of the way. They're all falling over. They're all doing stupid things because their morale is low. So anyway, that's just a really quick explanation. I was going to make a video last year on handicap and essentially kind of explaining it again, but we didn't get an opportunity to just because I had to go away for work and everything like that. But now that we're back, I'm trying to pump out these videos. I get it. This was a ton of stuff. We kind of jammed it in. This is essentially the last, I don't know, month of gameplay or last couple weeks just like thrown into a video. I'm talking a million miles an hour. I got the dog jumping all over me. So life is coming at me really fast here, but I appreciate you guys sticking with me to the very end. This is going to be the last one that we did here, and we picked up a player pick, which was also something that I highly recommend if you didn't do it. Very worthwhile doing. I was contemplating Schweinsteiger because I can move him into the midfield, but 80 pace is just too slow. He's essentially going to not play any games, so I'm like, don't worry about him. Zambrotta is a wingback. There aren't really a ton of like fantastic wingbacks, especially like icon ones. So I'm like, I'll take Zambrotta. So he was going to be the card that I was going to get. I think this was like maybe 150k to do, 160k. And the reality is you're probably going to have that in untradables sitting in your club. The amount of untradables that everybody has in their club right now is absolutely through the roof. So I highly recommend dumping them into stuff like this, because the problem is I'm seeing it a ton. you're picking up untradables, and they're just sitting in your club, and then you're getting duplicates of the untradables. So throw them into this. Do go get this card because he is worthwhile, or do go do that SBC because it is worthwhile. But that's going to be the end of the video, guys. I appreciate you sticking with me at the very end. Until next time, take care. Peace.